Russia has announced that it will once again aim its nuclear missiles at Europe. 2 nuclear submarines sent by Trump towards Russia have reached their destination. Trump is planning to sharply increase pressure on India. In China, there is a proposal to shoot down Starlink satellites using invisible ships. In the US, a man shot and killed his neighbor, believing him to be an alien. Now let's get fully acquainted with the news.
Trump confirms deployment of U.S. nuclear submarines. Amid tensions with Medvedev, Washington, D.C., August 4, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed that 2 American nuclear submarines have arrived at their designated location, following an order he issued earlier this week. The deployment comes amid growing rhetorical tensions between Trump and former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. Speaking to reporters on August 3rd, before departing New Jersey for Washington, Trump said, "They are already in the region where they're supposed to be." He did not specify the region, nor did he disclose whether the submarines were carrying nuclear weapons. The positioning of U.S. nuclear submarines remains classified. Trump's order, made public on August 1st, was reportedly in response to what he described as highly provocative comments from Medvedev. The former Russian leader had earlier engaged in a heated exchange on the social media platform X with U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, a staunch advocate of sanctions against Russia. Medvedev had criticized a new ultimatum from the White House, which shortened the timeline for achieving a peace agreement in Ukraine from 50 days to 10. He described the move as a threat and a step toward war between the U.S. and Russia, referring to both Trump and Graham as grandpas. In response, Trump took to Truth Social on July 31st, calling the economies of both Russia and India dead, India being one of the largest importers of Russian oil. He also warned Medvedev to watch his tongue and said the Russian official was entering a very dangerous zone. Later, the same day, Medvedev responded on Telegram, writing, "If a few words from a former Russian president provoke such a nervous reaction from the powerful U.S. president, it only confirms that Russia is right and will continue on its path." The situation marks a notable escalation in rhetoric between Washington and Moscow and has raised concerns among international observers about the possibility of increased military posturing. In China, there is a proposal to shoot down Starlink satellites using invisible spacecraft. Starlink is viewed in China as a threat to national security, mainly because Elon Musk's company is believed to have close ties with U.S. intelligence and military agencies. Chinese scientists are reportedly developing methods to take down Starlink satellites. According to an analysis conducted by the Associated Press, which reviewed 64 scientific papers published in Chinese academic journals, researchers have proposed several strategies. Among the suggested methods are the use of stealth spacecraft equipped with space-based lasers, as well as attacks carried out by ion engine-powered satellites. The publication notes that China's concerns about Starlink have grown significantly since the Russia-Ukraine war, as Ukraine has been heavily relying on the Starlink network during the conflict. Russia has announced that it may once again target its nuclear-capable missiles at Europe. During the Soviet era, short and medium-range missiles aimed at Europe were dismantled under an agreement with the United States. However, according to a statement from the Russian Foreign Ministry cited by the Moscow Times, Moscow now no longer considers itself bound by any restrictions on deploying such ground-based missiles. Because our repeated warnings have been ignored and the situation is evolving in a way that leads to the practical deployment of US-made ground-based weapons in Europe and the Asia-Pacific region. The Russian Foreign Ministry declares that there are no longer any conditions for maintaining a unilateral moratorium on the deployment of such weapons, the ministry stated. In the 1980s, nuclear warheads and missiles with ranges of 500 to 5,500 kilometers aimed at NATO countries in Europe were eliminated under the treaty signed by Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan. However, in 2019, the U.S. withdrew from this treaty, accusing Russia of violating it. According to U.S. intelligence, Russia already possesses medium and short-range missiles, such as the 9M729 missile from the Iskander system, which can be equipped with a nuclear warhead. While Russia claims its range is 500 kilometers, the U.S. believes it can reach much farther and, if deployed in the Kaliningrad region, could strike major capitals across Western Europe. After the treaty collapsed, Russia announced a voluntary moratorium on the deployment of such missiles targeting Europe. In the summer of 2024, Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered the resumption of medium and short-range missile production. The United States withdrew from this treaty under a fabricated pretext and announced it would develop such missile systems, Putin said. It is clear that we must begin developing these strike systems and then, based on the real situation and our security needs, decide where to deploy them, he added. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has announced plans to sharply raise tariffs on Indian imports as part of his renewed economic strategy. Starting from August 1, 2025, all goods imported from India to the United States will be subject to a 25% tariff with no exemptions. Trump explained that this move is a response to India's long-standing practice of imposing high import duties on American goods. He criticized India's economic policy as being unfair to the U.S. and described the new tariffs as part of a broader, reciprocal trade agenda. Trump also linked this decision to India's ongoing trade relationship with Russia, particularly its continued purchase and resale of Russian oil amid the war in Ukraine. He stated that by buying Russian oil, India is indirectly supporting Russia's war efforts and warned that tariffs could be increased even more if India doesn't change its stance. The impact of these tariffs is expected to be significant for India. Major export sectors such as pharmaceuticals, textiles, jewelry, auto parts, and IT services could be hit hard. Experts estimate that India could lose up to $7 billion per year, and about 87% of its exports to the U.S. may be affected. Indian political opposition has criticized the Modi government for not taking a strong stand against Trump's actions. While some Indian business leaders warn this could lead to global inflation and disrupt supply chains, analysts believe that India is being made an example by Trump to send a message to other countries, especially BRICS nations, that don't align with U.S. trade policies. Despite the setback, India may still remain an important manufacturing hub, especially for countries looking to diversify away from China, though the higher tariffs could make Indian goods less competitive in the U.S. market. Minnesota man shot and killed neighbor he believed to be an alien, charges say. Charges say a southern Minnesota man last week shot and killed his older neighbor, whom he believed to be an alien. The 38-year-old man from Windham, Minnesota, has been charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, according to a criminal complaint filed in Cottonwood County on Friday. The Windham Police Department says they were called to the 1400 block of 12th Avenue at approximately 5:19 a.m. Wednesday on a report of a shooting. Officers found the victim, a 70-year-old woman, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was able to speak to an officer, telling them she believed she was shot but did not see a firearm. She added that the suspect had called her saying he needed help and that she had gone to his house about 45 minutes earlier. The woman was transported to the Windham Hospital where she later died. An autopsy found she had been shot 7 times. She died due to blood loss from the gunshot wounds, according to the provisional report. A witness told investigators the suspect had woken him up to sit on the couch when he began talking about aliens, allegedly stating he thought his neighbor, the victim, was an alien and that an alien ship was coming to take them, according to the complaint. The witness recalled seeing the victim, hearing gunshots and seeing flashes, then the victim leaving. Charges say the witness was scared and ran to their neighbor's house where they found her on the floor. That's when they called 911. While police were responding to the shooting, the complaint says dispatch informed officers around 5:30 a.m. that a woman called saying a man had broken into her nearby home on the 1200 block of River Road. Upon arriving at the residence, police reported seeing a significant amount of broken glass and blood within the entrance, and hearing the sound of moaning and running water coming from the bathroom area. Inside the bathroom, charges say officers found the suspect in the bathtub. Police removed him and placed him in handcuffs, noting the water in the tub was blood-stained. The suspect was transported to the hospital for treatment before going to jail. His first court appearance is scheduled for August.